everybody! I hope you don't mind a little sit-down vlog this week. Some of you may want us to get back to just the normal, like, around the house, what are we doing style vlogging, but I feel like we have a lot of lost time to catch up on, just as far as what's been going on with me, with this pregnancy. Thank you so much for all the well wishes and everything on our announcement video. That was amazing. I'm so grateful for all of the positivity and the love that you have sent my way. I am for sure 100% feeling it and so grateful for you. And in that video, we basically, it's not a super long video. You might want to check it out if you haven't seen it yet and then you're moving on to this. But we announced the pregnancy. I showed a clip of myself that I shot immediately after finding out in our bathroom. Not looking the greatest there, but like I had to document the moment and what I was truly feeling in that moment. So that video gave a little info, and then I've got so much to talk about as the weeks have gone on. As this video comes out, I will be at 13 weeks on the Monday this gets posted. So we're kind of getting toward the end of the first trimester, so I'll probably call this like a first trimester update because of just all the things that I haven't been able to talk about. And I have been keeping track of my symptoms and different things on my notes app, just making a big list week by week. But as we talked about in the announcement video, Bub and I were really surprised about this one. And it was mostly a surprise that this test came out positive when it did. I mean, I knew that it was in the realm of possibility that I could be pregnant. I mean, obviously I did because I thought to take a test, but I was going to be surprised if it came out positive because I wouldn't have, like, I think Valentine's Day when I tested that night that I shot that little clip, that was Valentine's Day night. And that was when I first tested. And I wouldn't have officially missed a period until we got to like Sunday or Monday. So I don't know what that little intuitive feeling in me was that said, take a test. Like I knew I had this bomb, like first response or whatever, one of those digital tests, and I just thought, let's take it. I didn't really think it'd be positive, but I was almost just excited to take a test, you know? I just knew that with the timing of everything, it could potentially be a pregnancy. Whether or not it showed it at that time testing, this would go down as like the first test that I took. But anyway, that video describes all that. But as far as our decision to have baby number 3, I feel like we kind of honed in on that probably late 2018, that yes, we want to do this, and at the start of the year, we're going to officially leave the door open for it. And we wanted to be very low key about it, very low stress, because that was the way it was when Belle came about. And I feel like with Biddy, or Eve, nicknames, need to have a little nickname key for the new people here. But with her, it was several months of getting negative tests and then finally getting the positive. And I was much more like trying to be in control of things and trying to make sure everything was timing out right. And it was just stressful. I was stressing over that. And it wasn't a great feeling. And it's not a kind of stress anybody wants to be under. There is a full moon still showing out my window. Like we got a little light. Just a little light outside right now, but I can see the full moon coming right in at me. But I just felt like, let's come at this one not over analyzing, not like trying super hard, and just go for it. I feel very grateful. And that mention of Biddy and going several months not getting a positive test, like I know that's nothing. I know some people are going years and not getting a positive pregnancy test, and my heart goes out to you. Like I'm not trying to be like, oh, that was rough. I just felt like in that time I started to develop feelings of frustration and what if this won't work or whatever. And with Biddy, it was almost like more intense wanting to have that second child even than the first. Like the first, I didn't even know what I was getting into. With the second, I was so sure I wanted this little girl to have a sibling, you know, and I was going to be really disappointed and sad if that couldn't work out. And so I felt a lot of pressure with that pregnancy. And this one, it was like, we are so content. We are so happy with these 2 little girls. And I think one thought that comes back to me is I was a third child, you know, and what if my parents had just decided to call it quits after 2. Like, I don't know. I prayed about it. I just felt very led to make this happen again. Nothing about the decision to do this pregnancy was boy or girl related. Frankly, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'll be a little scared if it turns out to be a boy. What do I do? But your comments on the last video talking about boy or girl, and everybody talking about like how many kids they have and which ones are boys or girls or all boys or whatever. Like, I love reading that stuff. Like, you've made me so excited to have a boy. You've made me so excited to have another girl. Like, whatever it turns out to be, like, I love hearing those stories, and you know, it's all what it's supposed to be, and that's the beautiful thing. But I just want you to know that there was not ever any discussion by any means by me or Tyler to say we need to try again to have a baby because we need to have a boy. Like that was not it. And that's so often, like, now that, especially now that our pregnancy is out and you see somebody in person, like the first thing that comes up is, so do you want that boy? And I understand that that may be the logic in a lot of situations, but I feel like that's really tough to be a motivating factor because you don't know, like, how do you try for something specific? You don't know what it's going to be. It's out of your hands. Anyways, symptoms. Let's talk about some symptoms. The week that I found out, I felt like I was highly emotional, actually. I think the hormones were surging at that time. I mentioned like opening up my Valentine's card, crying after my team won a basketball game, just way up here emotion-wise. Tired earlier than usual, although that's really tough to gauge. You got 2 kids, you're doing a work from home type job, like tiredness is frequent, so I couldn't necessarily point to that. But I did realize that I had eaten Panera's broccoli cheese soup 2 times since this had all started, since the baby may have been conceived. It was my main craving with Belle when I was pregnant. It was the thing I wanted the most, more than anything. And I'd already had it twice in a pretty short span of time. I was taking the Rainbow prenatals. I think that's what they were called. It's 2 pills. It's like the DHA, and then you got your prenatal vitamin, the bigger pill. I ran out of those actually, and so now I'm on to the one-a-days that are in the very same format. The Rainbow prenatals seemed fine for me, and I probably would have bought them again, but like one time I was shopping at Target, the next time I was at Walmart, and I couldn't find them. And I just tried to make a point to hydrate more. Like once I found out, okay, this is what's going down, I need to hydrate more. And of course, like the day after we found out, I called my doctor and, you know, made those first appointments. We knew that the due date was going to be October 28th, and the first appointment was going to come at 8 weeks, and that was going to be like the ultrasound. And the way our office does it is you go in at 8 weeks, you have your first ultrasound, like a meeting with the business office, you go to the lab and they take some blood, but you don't actually meet with your doctor at that time. I will have the same doctor that I had for the last 2 pregnancies, and he is awesome, and I had such a great experience throughout the entire pregnancy and the labor and delivery with him, and I just feel so comfortable going into this with the same doctor. And so like later that day or the next day, I got a call back when it was confirmed to me that he would be taking me on as a patient again, and I got an appointment made with him that would be at the 10-week mark. So then we get over to the 4-week mark. I think I started noticing more breast sensitivity, which is a very early symptom for a lot of people. It might just be kind of like coming from this area at first, like sort of that armpit zone. If you're moving around a ton, you're super active, like you might not notice it. It might not be till you just sit still and then you're like, oh, okay, now I can feel that. Started feeling bloated a little bit more. That was one of the earliest symptoms I felt with the others as well. And all in all, like just looking big picture at what I've experienced up till this point with this pregnancy, it's been really similar to the other 2. Like I can't point to any major differences. Like I've not had any nausea, really. Nothing to the point of throwing up. I've had some food aversions where if I think about it long enough, like the fact that I really don't want something, it will almost make me sick to my stomach to think about it. But when I talk to my mom about it, like I don't even have a right to talk about it because she's like, I was so sick in the first trimester with all 3 babies, and I have not had any of that any of these times. I noted that I had a sore throat at 4 weeks that had been going on for about a week, and every morning I would just wake up with this mild sore throat, and I had looked it up online. Of course, everybody's searching like whatever the thing is and then pregnancy symptom, and so I looked that up, and some people say that that could be a response to your body now having a pregnancy going on. And I did notice that craving again for deli type foods. Of course, not the deli means you're not supposed to be eating lunch meat and stuff like that, but like soup, salad, different kinds of sandwiches and stuff like that, the kinds of things you get from McAllister's or Panera, that's the kind of food I wanted to be taking in. Very, very similar to the last 2 pregnancies. And I already noticed that I was going to the bathroom more than usual. Might have been my increased water intake, might have been things starting to change in my body, I don't know. 5 weeks was the first time where I noticed slight nauseous feelings if I hadn't eaten in a while, but nothing to the point of throwing up or even close to it. A little bit restless sleeping wise at night. I don't have a lot of notes for the 5 weeks. At 6 weeks, I noted some food cravings here. Caesar salad, any kind of deli salad like crab salad or pasta salad. Oh my gosh, like I always love pasta salad, but now like get me the boxes of the Suddenly salad or whatever that you can make yourself. I make some amazing pasta salad. I wish you guys could eat my pasta salad because I add to it. I add in different flavors, I add in different things, but also sour candy, big time, like any kind of hard candy, anything that's just like flavor. I really wanted that. A lot of late afternoon tiredness, started getting up to go to the bathroom in the night, at least once in the night, and that has continued ever since the 6-week mark for me, I would say. I've got it down again that I cried again after a basketball game. Often feeling very hungry, which does go on to change a little bit, and more cravings listed: sour, lemonade. Oh, I remember wanting lemonade a lot with the other pregnancies, at least with, I think, Biddy. Here's a random blast from the past that I started wanting: push-ups, you know, those orange, like, cornflakes, waffles, and just generally breakfast food. I think by the end of 7 weeks, I started to have less appetite and have more aversions, not just like, everything sounds good, but more things, even things that I might typically like that just didn't sound good to me anymore. Eating a little less. Overshare here, but clear discharge and increase in that, which you may notice that's normal during pregnancy. Continued fatigue in late afternoon and evening time. And I hope this isn't too boring, just me like listing off symptoms, but I feel like the nice thing about pregnancy vlogs is chances are the more you watch, the more normal you will feel if you are going through a pregnancy. Like just hearing other people's experiences and you're like, oh, I had that too, or that must be normal. I can't get over that bright full moon that's out there. And every morning, usually when I'm up here, I hear 2 Canadian geese honking and flying over. The next update here that I put down is for the 8 to 9 week mark. At 8 weeks, as I said, we went in and we had the first ultrasound, so we got to see baby on there. That was the picture that the girls were holding up like in our announcement, and they said baby looked perfect, solid heart rate, it was 158. Such a relief. Just like the shade that I named heartbeat in my palette, that is the best sound when you are waiting to hear a heartbeat and then you hear a heartbeat. It is just bomb. And I love the lady who does the ultrasound. She's the same one who has done it all along and is just awesome. Also at that time, did the blood work, met with the business office. I put a note in here about like, I'll go into meals with a big appetite but end up eating very little. So the eyes bigger than stomach thing very much in effect and continues to be that way. I put a note down that I feel like I can see a little bump. Probably was just at certain times of day I could see the bump. I felt a stomach cramp one evening and it turned out to be a lot of gas. Craving cheese and crackers, chips and queso, etc., anything involving cheese. And now at 10 weeks was when I got to see our doctor. So they did a pap smear and then they did the Doppler and they could not hear the heartbeat on the Doppler. And like, there's the moment where you're like, heartbeat, 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 and you can't hear it. He said that at 10 weeks, there's kind of a 50-50 chance of being able to pick it up. Now, I've been referred to as one who has a tipped uterus before, and he said that may be why it's not picking up on there. They immediately sent me back to have an ultrasound, which is great. I'm glad I didn't have to like have a big waiting period there. But I knew deep down, like I didn't think anything was wrong. Like I hadn't felt any super unusual symptoms pregnancy-wise. I wasn't feeling any different. Everything seemed normal as far as this pregnancy went. So for the 15 or so minutes Bev and I are sitting there on a couch waiting for this ultrasound, I'm just thinking, everything is fine. I know everything feels fine. I know in my gut this is fine. And so we go in and immediately, boom, like on my stomach this time, not vaginally. The first ultrasound was vaginally, but she was able to put the thing on there and there was the baby right away moving around and still with a 158 heart rate. In a way, it was kind of awesome to get to go in and get that other look at the baby on the ultrasound because you don't really get that super often. But I gotta say, that took us both for a little bit of a ride there. We were not expecting the Doppler to not pick it up. So major relief there. And then we got some Wendy's and we went home. At 11 weeks was when I first noticed a lower overall appetite, like less snacky at nighttime, just not wanting things as much, still getting up once in the night to pee. And then I put a note here, Saturday, April 13th, I am almost certain I felt movement. felt these same small movements on my lower left abdomen a couple of days prior also. And I remember where I was. Bub and I went to this dinner party that a doctor in our area was hosting because it was a thing that was bid on during the event to benefit hospice. You know, people offer up different things, and this guy's thing was like gourmet meals. So there were like 8 or 9 of us there, and they did like a cocktail hour, which of course I'm like, can I have water? Can I have water? And then a 6-course meal after that. Now, the meal didn't start until 8:30, and so you can imagine how tired I was getting, because like by 8:30, I'm feeling like I want to fall asleep on the couch every night. But the continual intake of food kept me going. But it was so much fun, but we were standing there and they were having this cocktail time, and I was just drinking waters, and I had a couple appetizers, standing around talking to people, and I felt this like absolute fluttery feeling. And it's not like this is my first baby and I've never felt a baby move before. I really, really know what it feels like, and I could have sworn I felt it, and I felt it over the course of like 3 minutes or so, on and off. I don't know if it's just I was standing there, standing still. I was really able to feel it. I'm not sure. Call me crazy. That would be really early to feel anything, but I either felt the baby move or felt my body doing something that completely mimicked the early fluttery kind of feeling of a baby. Then at 12 weeks, they offered if I wanted it, I could take the blood test that detects different like genetic abnormalities. And now that I'm 35, I guess insurance may cover more of that or something, because I'm advanced maternal age now. Don't worry, I feel a little bit secure in this because I come from a family of people like my mom, aunts and stuff who are advanced maternal agers. Like my mom had me at 37 or 38, I think it was. And I think that was a time when it was seen as more risky to go that late in age or whatever. But anyway, this blood test was offered, so I basically just going into the lab to get that, and then I saw a doctor just real briefly, and I was alone for this at the 12-week appointment. So just this past Monday was when I went in, and I was so nervous leading up to this appointment, the days leading up, because I knew he said, we'll have the heartbeat on the Doppler at 12 weeks, don't worry. Well, that kind of gave me a don't worry back at 10 weeks, but it also gave me a feeling of like, okay, pressure's on. If we don't hear something at 12 weeks, something's probably really wrong here. And you start Googling, could you hear the baby's heartbeat on Doppler at 12 weeks? And there are all these people who will say like, oh, my baby was moving a lot. We found it on the ultrasound, but not on the Doppler. But guess what? I was there, I laid down, and immediately there's the heartbeat on the Doppler. And I was so freaking relieved. Like I wanted to hop up and dance around the room, and doctor's like, you want me to grab your phone so you can record this for Tyler because he couldn't be there that time? And so then he has to find it again, and he does right away. But mega relief to hear that. And the only other notes I have about 12 weeks is that I want all the flavorful, really sweet things. I want all the mints. I want all the Jolly Ranchers. I feel like the bloating has gone down a little bit. I think I can almost see it in my face, like just, you know, I edit myself on videos where I'm head and shoulders all the time, and I think I looked a little more bloated even several weeks back. And these last couple weeks, my face looks a little bit more how it normally looks, I think. People talk about pregnancy glow. I don't have it, you know, like I wake up in the morning. If you saw me without makeup, you'd be like, I see no glow. And then you guys, I have this whole drawer of something known as pregnancy glow, and it's highlighter. And anybody can put that on, highlighter and blush, and that's what I've got going on. So when people tell me that I've got that glow, I always wonder, did they just think I gained some weight? And the nice way to say it is you had a glow. You know, do any other pregnant people feel that way? Because I'm not glowing. I'm not. I'm happy, I'm joyful, but like my skin is not literally doing anything different. So guys, that's pretty much all the notes that I have right now. Hopefully that kind of gets you up to speed on what's been going on with me throughout this first trimester. Like I said, to look at the big picture, everything as a whole, I'm feeling very much like I did with the first 2 pregnancies. That's not like trying to give a prediction on whether it's a boy or girl, because, you know, I think some people don't have that much difference and could still have a boy one time, a girl the next. But my body, I feel like, likes pregnancy. It responds well to it. You do have the fatigue, you do have like, I'm craving something or I'm totally not craving something. There are these quirky little things, but overall, like, I love being pregnant and I am eager for the bump to bump out even more, if you know what I mean. I don't like the awkward phase of just like, sometimes there's a bump, otherwise I just kind of look bloated. And Belle told me probably like a few weeks after we found out, she said she told her preschool class. Now, Now, when she says I told my class, that could have meant I stood up and announced it during a time when it was share time or something. That could have meant I said something to one teacher, or I said something to like one or two friends. And I think that's what it turned out to be, because about a week before we announced this, one of her teachers came up to me, and like there was another little girl in the class who was saying like, my mommy's gonna have a baby boy. And I guess Belle piped up at that point and said, my mommy too. And so the teacher said, I just wanted to let you know, you don't have to confirm or deny, but Belle told the class that you're having a baby. And she's like, I didn't know if that was just how preschoolers are, like, you know, oh, me too. Or if it was the truth. I'm like, yeah, it's true. So I'm sorry that her pre-K class got the scoop on this before all y'all did. And I was like, she told me she said something like weeks and weeks ago, and I'm not sure who it was to, but I pulled my waistband of my pants down a little bit so it didn't interfere, but this is like the amount of bump we're having right now. Sometimes like later in the day it'll feel really firm up here and like maybe it's protruding a little bit more. And later in the day I always feel like I can see a little more. But I'm actually excited for when I can actually get into some maternity leggings, have an actual bump, and not feel kind of like this awkward, like sometimes I have a bump, sometimes I don't. But that tends to be the case with a lot of people toward the end of the first trimester. So thank you guys so much for watching. Oh man, I remember a question I received several times on the other video, and it was, what was the girl's reaction when you found out? And like I said, I very, you know, in a very not sophisticated way, like on Valentine's Day night, I had plopped the test in Bub Slap, and like they were up, and I hadn't even thought through like, oh, I could come up with a really cute way to tell the girls and get it on camera, or like, that's just not the way my brain works. Is like, I'm not really living my life for the camera. I'm just like experiencing life and whatever. But I just told them then and there, and they were excited. And we had asked them before, like, would you want to have a little brother or sister? And they're all like, oh yeah, gung-ho for it. So they were really excited, and they're like all, you know, jumping around really happy, even though like it's very unclear with Biddy if she gets what this means, because she'll think like on a given day, if we talk about the baby, like the baby's coming today, she'll tell Nana, mommy's having a baby today. Like, girlfriend's got no idea how long this is gonna take. But it'll be interesting for her to see. I mean, Belle's kind of gone through this once, although I'm not sure how keen her memory is on everything, but it'll be interesting to see them like respond to mommy's changing body and really have an awareness of that there is a baby in there. They know there's a baby in there now, but when they see the big bump, I think they'll be like, oh, okay. But we've got excitement all around. My whole family is just thrilled over this news, and I think everybody was pretty surprised by it too. My mom was just shocked when we told her. Like, she's thrilled, but we took her by surprise. I think she thought she was gonna faint when we told her. So anyway, good stuff. Thank you guys for your time. Let me know in the comments section what things I should cover next. I will probably do these maybe like a monthly little sit down update, and otherwise just kind of get back to some regular vlogging. But thank you so much everybody for your well wishes. I appreciate it so very much, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.